Auditory Comprehension, exercise number 2, Inferences. I'm going to read you a passage and then I want you to respond to the questions. Respond by writing. Each question will ask you to make a logical inference based on the textual details. Passage number 1. Kyle ran into his house, slamming the door behind him. He threw his book bag on the floor and plopped onto the couch. After 6 hours of playing Grand Larceny 7, he ate some pizza and fell asleep with a slice on his stomach and his feet on his book bag. When Kyle came home from school the next day, he was noticeably distraught. He balled up his report card and placed it inside a soup can in the garbage. He then flipped the can upside down in the garbage can and arranged loose pieces of trash over it. As he plopped down on the couch, he let a big sigh and picked up his gaming controller. Number 1, why is Kyle distraught? Write down your answer. Number 2, why does Kyle put the report card in the soup can? Number 3, was Kyle's report card good or bad? Good. Passage number 2. Listen carefully. Anastasia sat by the fountain in the park with her head in her palms. She was weeping mournfully, and her clothing was disheveled. In between gasps and sobs, Anastasia cried out the name, "Oh, John!" And then her cell phone beeped. Her hand ran into her purse, and her heart fluttered. The text message was from John. She opened up the message and read the bare words, "I need to get my jacket back from you." Anastasia threw her head into her arms and continued sobbing. Number 4, what relationship do John and Anastasia most likely have? Go ahead and write down your answer. Number 5, why is Anastasia sad? Good. Passage number 3. Cassie rolled over in her bed as she felt the sunlight hit her face. The beams were warming the back of her neck when she slowly realized that it was a Thursday, and she felt a little too good for a Thursday. Struggling to open her eyes, she looked up at the clock, 9:48. She shouted, "Holy cow!" Cassie jumped out of bed, threw on the first outfit that she grabbed, brushed her teeth in 2 swipes, threw her books in her book pack, and ran out the door. 6. What problem is Cassie having? Good. Question number 7. Where is Cassie going, likely? Good. Last story, number 4. Kelvin was waiting in front of the corner store at 3:56. His muscles were tense and he was sweating a bit more than usual. The other kids gathered in front of the little storefront were much more relaxed, even playful. They joked back and forth lightly to each other, but for Kelvin, time slowed. 3:57. "Don't worry, Kelvin. He ain't gonna show up." Kelvin hoped that he wouldn't. And then a black 4-door Camry with tinted windows pulled up and parked across the street. Kelvin gulped. 3:58. A group of teenagers piled out of the car. James was in front. "Hiya, Kelvin. Glad you can make it," James said. Kelvin felt smaller. Number 8. Why is Kelvin waiting at the corner store? Go ahead, write down your answer. Nine. Are Kelvin and James friends? Number 10. Why is Kelvin so nervous? Good. Again, when I'm working with patients, I'll have them read this out loud or silently to themselves. I'll have them answer the questions, and then I'll take the worksheet away from them and ask them about what the stories were covering in about 5 to 10 minutes. I talk about setting up a key so you're able to remember each story. So the first one could be grand larceny. The second story would be John or Anastasia, which would be a name that you'd remember. The third would be late to school. And the fourth would be Kelvin, which is kind of a unique name.